Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew on Hughes of the World. I'm Graham Hughes. How are you all doing this morning? We've got Martin Harrow, we've got Sarah Davis in the chat, we've got Diz, we've got Person Impersonator and Saz as well. Viper Scott is in there and Francis. Hello, hello, hello. If you'd like to join our friends in the chat, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel and just wait for 1 minute and then you'll be allowed to join in. Let me just start by saying just huge love and support to everyone in the trans community after yesterday's guidance was published, particularly to my good friends Rachel and India and Katie and others who have had to put up with this shite now, which let's be honest. I mean, I guess we all thought that all this crap was over by the mid 2010s, you know? All the crap that trans people have had to put up with all their lives. We were moving to a better place, but now the oil companies had other ideas and they had some useful idiots on side to really, really fuck things up for everyone. And I mean for everyone. There is going to be no one on this island who is going to not be touched in some way by this ruling. Either themselves or someone that they know. And not just trans people, clearly, also cisgender women who don't look feminine enough, which is, it's going to create a lot of upset, a lot of violence. It's going to cause women who have low self-confidence anyway, children, teenagers, who suffer from things like body dysmorphia, suffer from anorexia, bulimia. It's going to make things 100 times worse. Because if you're already feeling like you don't belong in this world, and then someone accuses you of not being a real woman, what do you think that's going to do? What do you think that's going to do? It's this new guidance that came out yesterday from the Equalities and Human Rights Commission, which is a joke of a name. It's a turfy organisation. It was run by a turf, now it's run by a new turf, and they're saying that this guidance presents clarity, but the reality is it creates confusion, fear, humiliation, and legal chaos. It hands impossible responsibilities to ordinary workers, to businesses, hospitals, gyms, libraries. It effectively asks society to start policing people's bodies and appearances in public. You don't look feminine enough to be in this bathroom, says J.K. Rowling to an Algerian boxer who is a woman, who is a cisgender woman. You don't look feminine enough for me. All the racists, I mean, they're celebrating today. We've got to return to the Jim Crow era. And that's my point here. This isn't just restricted to one ethnic group, like with apartheid, where black men and women had to use different toilets, to the white men and women in America. And that went on, through the 1950s into the 1960s. I mean, it still went on quite a long time in certain little fucking backwater villages in America. And obviously, if you grew up in apartheid era South Africa, there was also a clear distinction between someone who was white and someone who was not white. And I'm only going to say black here. I'm going to say not white, because people who were mixed race would also be denied services in hospitals, in schools, in cafes, told they can't use the same toilet, the same drinking fountain as the other people. And do you know what the most disgusting thing is? It's the same it's exactly the same reason. The reason given is we're scared and we might get attacked. We might get attacked. And as J.K. Rowling famously said on Twitter, we need to stop We need to stop assuming innocence of certain groups in society, certain minorities. I think in America called it was like one drop or something. If you had one drop of blackness in your DNA, that's what they said. Then you weren't allowed to use the same bathrooms as other people. And here's the thing: how the fuck are they going to police this? And the 4 women in Scotland who brought this fucking abomination to they brought it into the world. All of them, if they go out without their makeup on, someone's going to fucking tell them to fuck off. Someone's going to say, you shouldn't be in this toilet. You shouldn't be in this toilet. Going to start fights. It's going to cause a lot of fucking human misery for everyone. For literally fucking everyone. What you're supposed to do, if you're a stepdad and you've got your young stepdaughter, 6 years old, with you and she really needs to wee, do you go in the toilet with her? What if she suffers from anxiety? Doesn't want to be apart from you, wants to stand outside the cubicle, make sure she's safe, doesn't want to go into a strange toilet by herself. She's 6, she's in tears, she's going to wet herself. You're going to take her into the men's toilets, are you? Is that going to be the plan? Yeah? What do you do? I mean, they're telling people who own businesses to completely renovate. They spend 30 grand on changing the toilets. And also, you say, well, what you can do is just make them both gender neutral, right? Make the toilets like they had in the place, the venue I went to in Sunderland a few weeks ago. They had the sign saying cubicles, and the other one said cubicles and urinals. That was it. Use whichever toilet you want. But here's the thing, right? I don't necessarily think that like the whole separating men and women when they go to the toilet, it's a hangover from like the Victorian era. It is a bit weird. But having said that, I understand that men are horrible, and I'm not like too concerned about the idea that we're gonna, I don't know, allow unless we do this, we're going to allow people who want mean harm to women in women's toilets. They'll just go in. They're not going to stop because of the fucking sign there. Jesus Christ. But what men do a lot is piss on the seat, which makes it really unpleasant for those of us who need to sit down on the seat. But you can't sit down on the seat. You have to hover because men piss all over the seat. That being the case, I understand that you would have, let's have some, let's say cubicles, some, let's say cubicles and urinals. So men don't go and piss on the fucking seat of the toilets because they don't need to, because they've got urinals to go and do that. The EHRC says that they're just implementing the law, but this isn't a law. This is all the interpretation of the Supreme Court of the law. That's not the law. That's separate. It's a different thing. It's guidance, right? And the guidance and the interpretation, this is going to shape behavior, and businesses are clearly, obviously going to overreact to avoid lawsuits. Staff will panic. Vulnerable people will withdraw from public life. We've already seen this across the country. The government itself admits that the impact on trans people will be negative. So why are they doing it? Why the fuck are they doing it? That alone should stop people in their tracks. Imagine openly publishing guidance where the state admits a minority group will suffer harm at the behest of a billionaire. This guidance does not solve a real world problem. It just doesn't. There was no problem with trans women using the women's toilets. It wasn't a problem. No one even fucking talked about it. I've never heard anyone mention it. I never even saw or heard from a transphobe until about 10 years ago, when the money started rolling in from the oil companies to say, hey, here's your next culture war, peeps. Come on. All aboard the culture war train. Choo choo. We're going through Bigot Town. Viper Scott, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. To all hugs, folks that need them this morning. Oh, thanks, Viper Scott. I think a lot of our friends need hugs this morning. I'm really struggling to support Labour after this, says UA Put. Yeah, I'm not gonna vote for Labour until they sort this shit out. I am gonna lobby the fuck out of them though. I've already written to my MP. I'm gonna keep writing to her. Mary Foy's pretty rebellious anyway, so hopefully she will make a stink about this. But we've got 40 days. We've got 40 days in which MPs can raise objections to this guidance, and there needs to be a fuckload of objections, because it's ridiculous. It does not solve a real world problem. It manufactures new ones. It treats trans people as a social contamination risk, and it creates a culture of suspicion around anyone who does not conform perfectly to gender stereotypes. And do you know what? There is a huge number of people, not just trans women, there's a huge number of people who do not conform to gender stereotypes. And they're going to be forced to now. This is the Trumpization of the country. This is the turning every woman into this kind of like Stepford wife type person. You know what the right want to do with women. They want to chain them up at home and force them to breed. They don't want them going into work. They don't want to make them decisions for themselves. And you know what? The same motherfuckers are like, protect our women and girls, protect our women and girls. I'll read what Rachel put on LinkedIn. Tough times ahead for the trans community in the UK. We must be strong because accommodation is not what the anti-trans movement wants in the name of protecting women. They want us excluded from all walks of life, healthcare, travel, employment, safety, and life. And wow, do they enjoy the cruelty. Just check out the social media today. Yeah, it's been horrific. But here's the thing, some of these groups have already moved on to race and women's bodily autonomy. Same money, same people, all part of a divide and conquer plan. She's absolutely right. The anti-trans movement, politicians and the media all connected and working together in so many countries in the same way. Same attack plan. Trans kids, trans adults, same sex, women, of course, racism, usually via immigration. My biggest disappointment is that UK politicians in power know this, but didn't lift a finger because they didn't want to fight the media, which is proven by the fact that Labour have admitted that this will make trans people's lives worse. I am sad and disappointed that the UK does not want me and my wife. We are excluded and invisible. I look at the UK differently today. It's a strange, hostile country, and I feel like an unwelcome visitor. As I plan my next move, I leave you all with what I've said for last few years. We are stronger together. Absolutely. So let's see what the guidance actually says, right? So it says businesses should exclude trans people from facilities matching their lived gender. But they must also discriminate if they fail to provide. They may also discriminate if they fail to provide alternatives. Clear as mud. But accessible toilets shouldn't be overloaded. But questioning people in public may be inappropriate. Maybe, we don't know. Might be inappropriate to tell someone that they don't look feminine enough for your liking. Maybe you could tell them they're fucking butt ugly. Maybe you could tell them they've got an arse where the face should be. Maybe you could tell them that they're falling out the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. I'm sure that's going to do lots for their self-confidence and self-esteem. What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world that the Labour government are creating. A world in which women who are historically put upon for their appearance, it's going to be fucking times by 1,000. This is the equivalent of Brexit on minority groups in this country in terms of immigration. It allows all of the bigots to run wild and say whatever the fuck horrible shit they want. And then the government's sitting there going, I wonder why we're having a mental health crisis. Fucking dickheads. So yeah, they say that questioning people may be inappropriate, but concerns, God, if I heard the word fucking concerns one more time, I'm going to vomit. But concerns about appearance may justify intervention. There you have it. It's in the guidance. If you don't think someone looks feminine enough, you can challenge them in public and say, I don't think you look feminine enough. Chris, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. How many cis women and girls have been attacked by trans women in public toilets in the last decade? The answer is a big fat 0. Yep. Yeah. Reverend Kathy, adding my hugs to Viper Scots. Everyone is lovable. Oh, thank you, Reverend Kathy. Planter McGee, Rage Against the Machine. Fuck you, I'll piss where I want to. Yeah. But the translation of this core guidance here is, you must police this. You must police this, but don't police it too aggressively. You mustn't discriminate, but you've also got to exclude people. You got to avoid legal action, but don't do anything that may lead to legal action. It's a bowl of fucking spaghetti covered in shit. It's shit spaghetti. That's what it is. Legal shit spaghetti. No ordinary cafe owner, pub manager, or minimum wage cinema worker can realistically implement this nonsense. It's bullshit. It's just bullshit. I mean, all things being equal, let's pretend I don't have any friends who are trans who are absolutely devastated by this. Let's just pretend I'm an alien who's just arrived from another planet. I don't know what's going on, and you have to explain this to me. You must police it, but don't do it too aggressively. Don't discriminate, but you must exclude people. Avoid legal action, but if necessary, you might have to create a situation that leads to legal action. Good luck, everyone. Based on appearances. Based on appearances. So if you see some clocky old turf in a fucking toilet anywhere, you can say, oh, I don't think you should be in here. Here you go. This might be worth me losing my minimum wage job over. I don't think you should be in this toilet. You shouldn't be using this toilet. You have to prove to me now that you were born female. Do you have your birth certificate on you? Do I fuck? Well, you can't piss in this toilet then. They go, okay, well, I'll go in the men's, shall I? Go in the men's. And then someone in the men's say, yeah, you're a woman. You shouldn't be in here. What the fuck? Like, has no one just put their hand up and gone, hang on. We live in a thing called the real world. Can we go through the real world implications of this? Imagine you're in a pub, Friday night, busy, loud music, drunk customers. One person in there says, I think that woman there is trans. Now what? What am I supposed to do? I'm working the bar, right? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to fucking investigate? Am I supposed to ask them for ID or demand a birth certificate? To make a judgment based on their appearance, their voice, their height, their jawline, their hair? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? A lot of times, people think that tall women are trans women. Right? What the fuck? My partner's 5'10". She's the same height as me. And I'm just horrified. The idea that one day she might be in the fucking toilet, and she won't be able to go to the loo because some fucking turf has had a go at her for not looking feminine enough in their eyes. I mean, I think she's fucking gorgeous, but that's my take on it. And she comes out the toilet fucking in fucking tears. I just what? This is just cruelty. That's all it is. It's fucking cruelty. It's not just cruel. It's fucking insane. It is absolutely fucking insane. And the guidance claims it's unlikely businesses should question people, and then then it immediately opens the door to questioning based on appearance, behaviour, and complaints from others. It's literally an invitation to harass. Cis women will get challenged. Masculine women will get challenged. Tall women will get challenged. Women who are from different minority backgrounds will get challenged. Disabled women will get challenged. Anyone who doesn't fit into a narrow beauty standard becomes suspicious. What if you're in your 50s and you're undergoing chemotherapy and all your fucking hair's falling out? And you're out and because you haven't got your flowing locks anymore, someone accuses you of being trans, and you can't use the fucking loo while you're being treated with chemotherapy, which is fucking torture. What about women who use stomas? Who need to get in the fucking toilet, need to get into the public toilet. There's a queue for the women's. There's always a queue for the women's. And they say, listen, I need to get to the front of the queue because I've got my stoma and it's going to fucking explode if I don't sort it out. And the people in the queue say, no, you can't come in because we don't think you look feminine enough. You go use the men's. Imagine being a 19-year-old Tesco fucking employee on minimum wage. And a customer comes up to you and says, there's a person in the ladies' toilet that looks a bit like a man. What's the teenager supposed to do? Ignore it and then risk complaints or legal threats. Challenge the person, which risks humiliation, discrimination claims, legal threats again. Risk, people on social media uploading the footage, confrontation. Do you call security? That would escalate everything instantly, create a public spectacle and trauma for everyone involved, and possibly a fucking lawsuit. So you ignore the person who says there's someone who looks a bit non-traditionally feminine in the toilet, right? You ignore the person, lawsuit. You do something about it, and they're not, lawsuit. You get the fucking security involved, and then you got a lawsuit coming from both directions. Great fucking guidance. Great one. Good one, Labour. Great fucking guidance. You fucking dickheads. Am I going mad here? Like, could someone explain it to me, that how this is supposed to fucking work? Hey? There is one England women's fast bowler who is 6 feet 4 inches tall. Yeah. Wow. I bet she's fucking fast. Thanks very much, Miss Paula Thomas, for the super chat. Romanticist folk, gender recognition certificate is not an ID and is illegal to request to see a GRC. It's used to change documents and nothing more. Yeah. Ugly munters, as my reform friend would say. Pot calling kettle black, not gonna lie. Well, yeah. I mean, the women, the 4 women in Scotland and the TERFs that I've seen, right? Every single one of them has been minging as fuck. Like, every single one. Like, my trans friends are way better looking. And there's some irony there, isn't it? And do you know what? When I talk about the 2-tier system that we have in this country of, like, the rich can do what they want and everyone else has to follow the rules, it's a reality that the richer you are, the more likely you are to, and if you're trans, the more likely you are to get that gender-affirming care as a teenager and be able to afford it privately at a time when that's the best time to do it. And so what you're going to end up with is that trans women who haven't got that much money end up being attacked, assaulted, discriminated against a lot more than the trans women with money. Do you see the problem there? Well, I mean, it's a problem fucking everywhere. Oh, I haven't even fucking, I'm some about the guidance dumping an impossible moral and legal burden onto ordinary workers, but I haven't even mentioned trans men yet. And it's not that I forgot them. I've got a whole section about trans men. But here we go. One of the biggest holes in this entire fucking culture war is most anti-trans obsessives, most TERF gobshites, bog trolls. They obsess over trans women. But the guidance also applies to trans men. So a trans man with a beard, a deep voice, masculine appearance, pecs, fucking guns, right, is expected to use the women's toilets. Are you fucking kidding me? Imagine how that would work in practice. Imagine someone coming in with a beard, a builder's jacket, a flat cap, bald head, walking into the women's changing room because that's where the state says he has to change. The people cheering this guidance have not thought this through for 5 fucking seconds. And it was never about practicality. This is all ideological. All ideological. Chris C, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. This is basically an abuse charter. We are basically allowing men to demand women and girls prove they are biologically female. Yeah? Oh, mate, look, the fucking paedophiles are celebrating today. The nonces are popping the fucking party poppers. Absolutely. You know, in America, it's gone so far as they're saying that if kids want to play, little league, if they want to play like little kids games that are split by gender for whatever reason, if one of the parents says, I don't think that little girl looks enough like a little girl, that little girl has to prove that she's a girl. How do you do that? Fucking pedo fucking paradise. That's what we're creating in this fucking country. When we talk about hospital wards, the guidance says trans patients should be placed according to biological sex where mixed accommodation is unavailable. Think about that. A trans woman who has lived as a woman for decades and has medically transitioned, surgically transitioned, and being, in that state, potentially vulnerable, frightened, ill, and being forced into a male ward. This is not protecting dignity. It destroys dignity. Hospitals already struggle with capacity, privacy, staffing, bed shortages. This guidance just adds another layer of bureaucratic chaos, shit fuckery to an already ailing NHS. Is this going to improve the fucking waiting lists? Is this going to help with A&E overflowing and patients in the corridor of hospitals? Patients dying in the corridor of hospitals. Well, this is a female-only corridor, so you shouldn't be in this corridor. I'm going to have to wheel you around the corner, because that makes sense. And you got the small businesses, a tiny cafe with an old building, can't do anything with it. It can't change much. You got 2 toilets, one marked men, one marked women. And the guidance effectively pressures them towards gender-neutral retrofits, extra facilities, accessibility reviews, legal consultations. Who pays for this? Does J.K. Rowling with her billions? No. The fucking owner of the business pays for it. Of course they do. At a time when hospitality is struggling like never before, energy bills are through the roof, our high streets are collapsing. This is the route you go down? Are you a fucking idiot? Have you been kicked in the head by a horse, or were you born this bleeding thick? Another unfunded culture war mandate handed down. Yeah, fucking change your... Do you know what they're going to do? Do you know what they're going to do? They're just going to make all the toilets fucking unisex. That's what I would do. If that was my business. Okay, well, all toilets are going to be unisex from now on. So the women, the turfy fucking clocky motherfuckers from Scotland, right? You're going to have more men in your toilets now. Okay? Dickheads. The law of unintended consequences. But, what? You're in a nightclub. You're a bouncer in a nightclub. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's a queue outside. There's a drunk crowd. You're trying to vet people on the way in. Make sure that the people who aren't allowed in the fucking club aren't coming in. Someone complains about a trans woman inside. What's the bouncer going to do? Well, they're going to become gender detective, fucking legal analyst at the Human Rights Tribunal at 2 o'clock in the morning at a fucking nightclub. It's fucking absurd and dangerous, because you're creating a social atmosphere where strangers feel empowered to transvestigate each other. Confrontation, violence, harassment. Like, what the... Schools and universities. Schools are already terrified. Universities are terrified of legal exposure, and schools are terrified of the fucking parents. Nobody knows where the line is anymore. And the result is going to be that institutions will overcompensate, blanket exclusions will emerge, trans students will disappear from social spaces. You're going to have, as was spoken in the chat before, this is section 28 2.0, isolation, exclusion, discrimination, apartheid. And, this is how exclusion works in real life, not through dramatic laws saying, this group of people can't use the bog, but through exhaustion and fear and bureaucracy and humiliation. And the EHRC guidance keeps talking about third space fantasy, with gender neutral alternatives. Sounds nice in theory. But we live in a country where people have lived here for over fucking 10,000 years. Okay, we built a lot of stuff. And do you know what? The stuff that was built in the Victorian era wasn't necessarily accessible, wasn't necessarily built with anyone else in mind but a 5'10" man. All the ergonomics, all the doors, the door handles, the steps, how you get in, how you get out, the sides of the toilets, all built around the physique of a 5'10" man. Why do you think there's always a queue for the women's toilets? Because the men who create the buildings or created the buildings will get the same size footprint to the men's toilets as they would the women's toilets, which is fucking stupid. What you want to do is you want to make the women's toilets 3, 4, 5 times bigger than the men's. Viper Scott, exactly. It is Section 28 all over again, 100%. Yeah. It absolutely is. Like this changing all the buildings. We're going to change all the. Most buildings do not have the space. They were built 100 fucking years ago. Most venues cannot afford redesigns. Many old buildings cannot accommodate it. So what? Businesses ignore the guidance, or trans people get excluded. And let's be honest. You can't use the normal facilities. Use the separate one that's just for you people. Is segregation. It's apartheid. It's no different to what happened in the Jim Crow South of America or in South Africa until the 1990s. Disabled campaigners are already warning that accessible toilets are going to fast become the default overflow trans toilets. Longer queues, reduced accessibility, resentment will grow between vulnerable groups. Like I said, if you've got a stoma and you need to fucking do something about it, you need to get into the toilet immediately. None of this needs it to fucking happen. None of this needs it to happen. There's usually one disabled loo, and if someone's in there, you have to fucking wait outside. The social consequences of this are absolutely fucking diabolical. Like, you're teaching society, and this is what's in this report. This is what's in this fucking guidance. They're saying that suspicion is virtuous and surveillance is normal, and that gender nonconformity is threatening in some way, creating an atmosphere where strangers will interrogate strangers, women will be interrogated, people will be afraid to exist in public, and trans people already face higher suicide rates. We know that trans children, trans youth, the attempted suicide rate is many, many times higher than that of the rest of the population. By the age of 20, over 50% of trans youths have attempted suicide. I'll just be blunt about it. I'll just be fucking blunt about it. This legislation is going to kill people. No doubt about it. No doubt about it at all. People, people have already got enough on their fucking plate right now. The cost of living, the fact that the boomers have stolen all the money, the fact that, we've got a nutter in charge in the White House. Trans people already face higher suicide rates, higher rates of homelessness, higher rates of assault, higher rates of unemployment, and extraordinary levels of online abuse. What trans people need is safety, compassion, dignity. And instead of that, they've been given this fucking manual for ritual humiliation from the equalities and human rights. Yeah, inequalities and human fucking wrongs, more like. And the political cowardness of this. Let me get started on that in a moment. Kev, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. I'll always support our trans friends. Yeah, same here, Kev. And Ice Boo is saying, I won't accept this ever. Yeah. In Sweden, some door toilets opens to the whole room. It means you have hand washing and toilets in a room that opens to the whole room. Safer in unisex old buildings too. Yeah, I mean, toilets are going to go unisex because that's the only sensible way out of this, you know. But I mean, it didn't need to happen. It did not need to happen. So yeah, the political cowardice of this is one of the reasons why I want Starmer out. Because he's avoided the issue. You know, Labour as a whole keep trying to avoid this issue, but avoidance becomes complacency. Bridget Phillipson, who seems incredibly turfy to me, approved laying the guidance before Parliament. Ministers cannot pretend they are neutral observers in this anymore, and the Parliament's got to make a decision on this. Right, this doesn't need to go ahead. This doesn't need to go ahead. The final arbiters will be the MPs. They will either say, "Yeah, we're happy with this," or they will raise objections. The EHRC has increasingly lost credibility with nearly all LGBT organisations, real LGBT organisations, not fake ones made up by Tufton Street. And even some legal experts argue that the guidance stretches way beyond what the Supreme Court even required. You know, there's an important point here that all this bullshittery, all this nonsense doesn't even solve what its supporters claim. You know, predators do not obey signage. Assault remains illegal, regardless of your fucking toilet policy. Criminal behaviour was always criminal, and it'll never stop being criminal. This guidance does not stop predators. It does not make it so that only more than 1% of rapists actually go to jail. It won't do that. It just targets ordinary trans people. That's all it does. And I just want to say to my trans friends watching this, you are not a problem to be solved. You're not dangerous. You're not predators. You deserve dignity. You deserve safety. You deserve public life as much as anyone else. And you deserve ordinary existence without everyday interrogation from bigots and scumbags. All the trans people I know, all the trans people I've ever met, just want to go to work, see their friends, go to the pub, have a laugh, just live life, exist peacefully. And the cruelty of this debate is that people talk about trans people as an abstract, like a legal object instead of human beings. And many trans people are just fucking exhausted by this. My trans friends are. They feel terrified. They feel isolated, and seeing their rights being narrowed step by step. But I will say this, right? History rarely looks kindly on moral panics. It never has. And for those TERFs out there, I don't think there's going to be any TERFs watching this, but a question you want to ask them. It's the same question I asked when people talk about supporting Brexit or supporting, Nigel Farage or whatever. Look who's on your look who's on your team. Look who's on your team. Look who's on your side of this argument. Vladimir fucking Putin. Donald Trump. Every tin pot dictator ever. Adolf Hitler is on your side. If you are a TERF, Adolf Hitler thinks the same way, or thought the same way you do. This guidance is not about clarity, it's about cruelty. It's about confusion, disguised as certainty. It's bureaucracy, weaponized against a vulnerable minority. It's socially corrosive, it's legally chaotic, like I say, it's a fucking shit-covered bowl of fucking spaghetti. And it's practically absurd. It can't work. It just can't work. And we're going to be here in 10 years' time. It's going to be like Brexit all over again, with people going, "Oh yeah, I suppose it doesn't work." Ordinary people, trans and cis alike, are going to suffer because of this guidance. Britain is sleepwalking into a society where strangers are encouraged to police each other's bodies in public. And that should horrify everyone. So what can we do? Well, like I said, there's going to be a 40-day, what's it called? A 40-day period where MPs can bring objections up to this. Now, it's Friday today, so your MP won't be able to bring up anything today because Friday's the day when MPs aren't in Parliament necessarily, and they go to their constituencies to do constituency work, unless they're Nigel Farage, and then they don't, because they don't even know where their constituency is. Couldn't point it out on a map. So we've got 40 days. I would implore you to write to your MP. I don't care what party they are. Write to your MP, preferably every day for the next 40 days. Explaining exactly what I've just said about how this is unworkable and cruel and how horrible it is and how and write it in an emotive way. Use AI if you need to help you write it. What I might do is set up something where I put a note on, what's a post on my site here on YouTube with a letter, to my MP, and then you can change it for yours. But I'm gonna be fucking visceral. I'm gonna be like, this is gonna be on you. I'm not gonna be nice about it. I mean, this is fucking disgusting, and I think the only sensible response to this is revulsion and disgust at what this guidance says, but giving some real world practical questions. Mention that the hospitals are all filled, right? What about the fucking legal system? You're looking at a legal system where women who have been sexually abused are waiting 3 or 4 years, 5 years for it to go to trial. 5 years of their rapist walking free, going to work, starting new relationships, being on Tinder. And now we want to snarl up the legal system with even more bullshit, No, sorry, that's not bullshit. This is bullshit. This is something that didn't need to happen. Something that the oil companies got together 10 years ago and went, shit, people are going to stop buying, because that's the moment, it was 10 years ago when it became cheaper to produce solar panels and wind turbines than it was to pump oil out the ground. That's when the oil companies really shat themselves. It wasn't when we found out that they were causing climate change. No, they didn't give a fuck about that. That was a good thing for them because it meant that they could drill in the old permafrost up in Siberia and stuff. I mean, they were cock-a-loop about that. But as soon as that price point, as soon as on the graph, the price of solar, the price of wind came down, the price of oil wasn't going down because it costs so much to dig it out the ground, pump it out the ground, and put it on a boat, send it halfway around the world, and then refine it, and then put it in your fucking petrol station, and put it in your fucking car. That whole process costs billions of dollars. Billions and billions of petrodollars. They shat themselves. They were like, shit, people are going to use electric cars. They're going to get heat pumps. They're going to get insulation. We need to stop this. They made a phone call to say to David Cameron, hey, can you stop doing that insulation thing? That's not good for us. We want people using as much energy as possible, preferably gas. He's like, okay, cool. Gas heaters. Good job. Yeah. No insulation. Yeah. Good job. And then they called him up again and said, listen, can you put a ban on onshore wind farms across the country? Oh, yeah, I can do that. We'll put a ban on onshore wind farms. Okay, well, what's going to be an excuse? Well, if one person objects to the very idea of there being a single fucking wind turbine 39 miles away, we won't build the turbine. But that wasn't enough for the oil companies because they know what's coming. They know their extinction is coming. These are dinosaurs that can fucking see the comet coming towards them that's going to take them all out. They can see it. They see it a mile away. So what do? They get together, a little fucking boardroom, probably in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Any women there would have to be behind a screen because you're not allowed to have them in the boardroom. Well, they can be in the room, but they have to be behind the screen so you can't see them during the meeting. But I doubt any women will be there. and they would say, what issues can we raise that will get people on the left and right on side? And they were like, oh, what about the EU? There's people on the hard left who hate the EU, and there's people on the right, they all hate the EU because they're fascists, and they don't like the EU because it's good and it works and it's democratic. EU, that's a good one. Okay, what about gay people? Should we have to get? Oh, that's going to be difficult. You know, since 2013 in the UK, we've had gay marriage has been legal, and everyone knows someone who's gay now, and that's going to be very difficult. Ooh, what about trans people? Oh, genius, mate! Fucking yeah, that's the one. Trans people. Let's go after them, because by and large, people don't know a trans person. And if they do, they might not know they're trans because it's not something that trans people do, to go around with a big badge on saying, hey, I'm trans. Hi, how's it going? It's part of their identity, but it's not all their identity. And they went, yeah, that'll do. That'll do. We'll do that. What else can we have? Oh, what about Jewish people? Oh, yeah, that'd be great, because the far right hate Jews. And obviously, if we can get Benjamin Netanyahu to do a load of fucking horrible, horrific, genocidal shit to the Palestinians, then, you know, you're going to have a lot of people on the left who are going to have a problem with them as well, because they'll conflate the two between, you know, Jewish people and the state of Israel. Ha ha! What about Muslims? Oh, yeah, that'll be great. Let's get the Muslims. How can we go after the Muslims? Well, what we'll do is we'll find a small minority of them and do something really fucking horrible and make it sound like it's all of them doing this. Oh, fucking genius, mate. Right, what else have we got down here? We've got refugees. Okay, right. The problem is there's not that many refugees coming into the UK at the moment. Yeah, not that many refugees. Oh, I've got an idea. Why don't we foment wars in like the Middle East and Africa and make lots of refugees flood into Europe? Because literally, if they stay where they live, they will die. In fact, their family will be slaughtered in front of them, and that'll be the last thing they see before they're curb stomped to death. Yeah. Let's make a situation where there's loads more refugees coming over. Oh, cool. Yeah, but the thing is, we have refugees coming over. We've got this convention thing, and we can send them back to Europe. You know, we can send them back to France or whatever country they first claimed asylum in. Mate, go back to that Brexit thing. You Brexit, pull out of the Dublin Convention, right? And then when people come over on small boats, what's a small boat? Well, I just imagine in the future, this is 10 years ago, I just imagine in the future, if you pull out of that standing, you know, agreement with the European Union, then people, when they come over, they'll have to stay, won't they? Oh yeah, that's great. And then should we process them really fast and make sure, you know, they're proper asylum seekers and stuff? And should we allow them to work while they're processing the claim, you know, so they're not a drain on society in that way? You know, they can fend for themselves, buy their own food, pay for their own accommodation, that kind of thing. Nah, mate. Nah. Let's make it so they all have to wait 3 fucking years. Let's make it so that we put them up in accommodation, right? And we'll make it really clear where they're being accommodated. And we'll give them all the fucking food and drink and then everything. We'll pay for that. We'll pay for all the food and drink. I mean, we'll only give them fucking porridge or fucking gruel, but, you know, the taxpayer will pay for that. And we'll make a big stink about it. Just as long as no one mentions the oil. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Just heard Morrisons are putting sanitary bins into the male toilets. The anti-woke crowd are losing their heads. Good. There should be sanitary bins in the men's toilets, and then you know, that can be used for other things as well. Viper Scott, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. For Diz to get her confetti fix, it's time. Okay, well, if you announced it's time, I will release the confetti. Here you go. Confetti. Boom! Thank you, everyone. Thank you. There you go. A little bit of happiness on this otherwise shitty fucking day. And then we've got Dennett Lane saying, I'm sick to death of people pretending it's about my safety as a woman. The 4 times I've been in danger, it was a man dressed in male clothing, not in the toilet. Cis men are the biggest danger to women. Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. If someone's going to assault you, it's more likely to be someone that you know. It's horrible to say, but it is. And if it's not someone that you know, it's going to be a cisgender man dressed as a man. Every one of my female friends who has had suffered sexual abuse, it's always been a cisgender man. And I don't know of any case that I've heard of at all of a trans woman going into a women's toilets so that she can abuse the other women in the toilet. I mean, statistically, I guess it must have happened once, but I've not seen any reports about it. Martin Chat, 12 super chats now, so Boba Fetty and Confetti. Okay, all right, okay. Straight by popular opinion. Here you go, mate. There you go, Boba Fetty. Maybe I should get a Mandalorian Fetty. That doesn't really work, does it? Boba Fetty. Turn myself into Boba Fetty. Sanitary bins for men can also be used for incontinence pants too. Someone needs to tell the ref fuck Burks that. Yeah. And stoma bags. Sheffield and stoma patients. Yeah. I mean, yeah, put them in there. There are things that you don't want to flush down the toilet. I mean, like I always travel with wet wipes, and I don't like flushing them down the toilet. But if there's no fucking bin there for me to put them in, I'll put them down the fucking toilet, which I don't want to have to do. I always get the flushable ones. I'm not a twat, but I mean, yeah. 97% of all sexual offences are committed by men. 83% of that 97% are white men. Yeah. I mean, it's horrific, but the amount of crime that's committed is kind of proportionate in a lot of ways. Sexual crimes, anyway, across different social classes. I mean, and even economic classes. It's not like the rich don't abuse women. Of course they do. We've seen that. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, fucking Donald Trump bragged about sexually abusing women. Graham, that is because there's been no reported or recorded instances of a cis woman being attacked in a female toilet by a trans woman. Yeah. I'll tell you what, there was a story last year about a couple of TERFs who met in a toilet in Florida and had a fucking Barney because each of them accused each other of being trans. You're going to see a lot more of that. Now, I will go over to the mirror here. I'm just having a look at some stuff I've been sent about this. Jesus. So yeah, Rachel sent me a list of all the places where trans women will be can be legally, once this guidance becomes law, in 40 days, can be legally discriminated against: public toilets, changing rooms, gyms, pools, leisure centres, etc. Single-sex hospital wards, domestic abuse and rape crisis group services, and trans women are more likely to be sexually abused than cisgender women. Refuges and shelters, maternity, obstetrics and gynecology services, breast and cervical screening, women's health clinics. Trans women can get breast cancer. Like, what the fuck? They're going to exclude trans women from getting breast screening. Single-sex fitness classes and women-only sessions, single-sex sports clubs and teams, competitive sports events. For competitive sports events, this is the one where they sort of trans women excluded from women's competition. Trans men may be excluded from men's competition on safety or fair competition grounds. So are trans men supposed to go in the female categories? Okay. Also, by the way, for the domestic abuse and rape crisis group services, Trans women will be excluded from women-only provision. Trans men may also be excluded from female survivor services where proportionate. What else? Single-sex saunas, spas, and bathhouses. Communal accommodation, dormitories, shared sleeping. Exclusion on sex assigned at birth or gender recognition certificate permitted, subject to proportionality. So, you know, when you stay at a backpackers and you have a mixed dorm, yeah, and you have single-sex dorms, obviously, because some women do not want men to be sleeping in the same room as them, or men rolling in at 2 o'clock in the morning, drunk as fuck, and having sex on the lower bunk. They want a separate dorm that's just for women, right? I completely get that. But trans women are women. Graham, that breaks the duty of care of the NHS. Yeah, it does. Viper Scott, it absolutely does. And this is worth pointing out. For the breast and cervical screening, that is follows from EHRC draft code 13.152. And then you've got single sex associations and members clubs, and that membership decided on sex assigned at birth. And this puts, did everyone point out that this puts a lot of fucking pressure on pediatricians, right? Because as I've explained before, sometimes it's not clear when a baby pops out what gender it is, and the doctors have got to make a decision there and then what to put on the birth certificate. It's got to be M or F. You can't put NS for not sure, right? You've got to put M or F, right? And 9 times out of 10, you know, if it's not entirely obvious, they will do a little procedure, which basically they can then press the F button, you know, type in the F key, because that's easier than having a little operation that goes the other way, right? That's why there's more trans men than there are trans women, because they were incorrectly assigned at birth. They may have been, you know, they say that they were a woman, but they've actually got the brain of a man. Yeah, we've got religious single-sex services. That's going to be sex assigned at birth. Schools for pupils age 8 and over. Separate sex toilets and changing required on sex assigned at birth. Again, so if you're a trans boy and you're going to have to get changed with the girls. Again, not optimal. Workplaces, toilets, changing, single-sex facilities, same logic as the services code, applied through the employment code. Prisons and immigration detention, placement on sex assigned at birth. Again, single-sex shortlist and positive action. Sex means sex assigned at birth throughout. Asking about sex requests at the door of single-sex services. Providers may ask people to confirm their sex. Trans people may be required to leave. Jesus Christ. I'll put this up on a post later. It's just fucking horrible. It is absolutely horrible. Silly Billy Tilly B, thank you very much for the super chat. It's a real discrimination and persecution of trans people. It's too hard to believe that Labour have betrayed us, and it's just not safe in the UK for me. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, you know, I'm not usually stuck for fucking things to say. Jesus Christ. But I'm hoping to go for the I'm hoping to go for Guinness World Records next week. This has got something to do with it. I'm not going off on a mad tangent. I did an interview last week for the Guinness World Record podcast, and this is why I'm shifting the channel more towards other stuff other than just politics. But I'm going to try and do a 48-hour filibuster, a 48-hour solo live stream starting at 9 o'clock on Monday and going through to 9 o'clock on Wednesday. I don't think I'll be awake to do PMQs, but I might be. I don't know. But I might not do it. I'm going to see how long I can go. It's going to be on my first attempt. It might be my first of a few attempts. But during it, I'm going to be raising awareness of this situation, and also I'm going to be raising money for the Good Law Project. So that's what we raise. I'll put some into the crowd funder at the end. So we'll see how much we get. What, Graham? Mad tangents? Yeah. Again, the majority of trans women are held within the male prisoner state. Yeah, which is incredibly dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous. I wear a medical bracelet which says, if found unconscious, do not take me to hospital. I've experienced transphobia in hospital. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sorry. And it's horrible, and it comes as no surprise at the way that the world is right now. And like I said, this only... Oh, look, I grew up, I'm 47, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and transphobia was just rampant. We had so many fucking movies and comedy shows where the trans person was the butt of the joke, not afforded, dignity, and they were all trying to, get you into bed, and then they'll reveal that they're not actually a cisgender woman, they're a trans woman. Ace Ventura putting a fucking toilet plunger on his face because he's so disgusted that he snogged Sean Young. Is it Sean Young? Who's fucking gorgeous, by the way. But yeah. Yes, please donate if I can to the Good Law Project, one-off or so. Yeah. So hopefully, listen, if we try and get as many people as possible on board for this 48-hour filibuster, and hopefully get a Guinness World Record out of it, we might be able to raise a good sum of money for the Good Law Project. So let's try and do that. But yeah, I was wondering which charity I'd like to give money to this time, because in the past I've raised money for WaterAid, I've raised money for the UNHCR, and obviously I've raised money for Ukraine before. But yeah, I was thinking, right now, right here, especially spreading the message to people. Even if you can't afford to chip into the Good Law Project, it'd be really nice if people would. Write to their MP and say, "I'm not happy with this," especially cisgender people. Don't feel like this isn't your battle and you shouldn't get involved and it's someone else's fight. Get. I'm sorry. We've all got to get down and dirty in the mud and fight like hell, because they start with trans kids, and they go to trans adults, and then they go on to women, such cisgender women. They take away their reproductive rights. We've seen this in America. We know the pattern. It's a thin end of the wedge. See what they can get away with, making discrimination, part of the integral fabric of society. That's what this is doing. As if there is such a thing as good discrimination. It's good that you made that person feel like shit. That was a good thing you did, Anthony. Well done. Well done. I found out it was Michael Howard's dad who had died of breast cancer and raised awareness of it in men. That's the story I half remembered. It would be good if other YouTubers could combine their show with yours. Yeah. That'd be good. But I think on the rules, I've got to check out, because I've got to check it out, because I know that they're going to do the Guinness World Record thing is like the podcast I did is going to be a collaboration. I was invited to be a collaborator, like the Vichy French. It's supposed to come up. It's supposed to come up on my thing, but it hasn't. I will have to have a look at that. So yeah, this timeline's really shit, says Kitty Kate. Yeah, Kitty. I mean, but yeah, let's get right into our MPs. Let's start raising awareness, and let's say to, especially cisgender people out there, do something, because it'll be you next. Madeley, he's the guy who what's his name? Alan Partridge is based on. Viper Scott has put the link in there for Good Law Project donate. So let's try and raise some money for them Monday, Tuesday, and then into, well, as far as I get. The figure, the time that Guinness World Records have given me to try and beat it's 45 hours and 45 minutes. solo live stream. I'm allowed 5 minutes off every hour, and I can bank it. So if I go for 12 hours straight, I can actually sleep for an hour, which I'll probably do. I might do that on camera. I don't know. I might go, because that's a bed settee over there, so I might just put it over there, just sleep. You can hear me snore for an hour. Okay. And what I'm going to be doing for the 48 hours, I've got it planned out, is I'm going to be talking about every country in the world in alphabetical order. So each country is going to get 15 minutes of me talking about it. Get out me Lonely Planets. I've got about 50 copies of Lonely Planets. And so, yeah, let me have a look. Brunei, Brazil, Botswana. Yeah, this is all in alphabetical order in here. There's Azerbaijan, my favorite name for a place. So we'll be going through each and every country in here. We've also got places that aren't countries, like the Northern Mariana Islands, which are part of America, which I've been to. And I'll be talking about my experiences in these places and, what I think about them. Whether I think that they're cool and groovy or what. I was just looking then. Oh, yeah. Somalia and Somaliland. Somaliland's a breakaway republic. And technically speaking, I've been to Somaliland, but it's, as far as the UN's concerned, it's part of Somalia. Andrew Ray, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Sorry to change subject. Did you see Bernie Sanders' last minute plea to the US citizens to fight Trump's coming agenda? Like you said, Trump wants to end voters' rights and destroy American democracy. I didn't see it, but yeah, Bernie, I mean, just... I wish there was more that they could do, but then they decided that it was better that Trump got in rather than the woman. Yeah, it's disappointing that only Graham is talking about it. You won't see any other person, the troll, political ex-Femi, etc., talking about this. We're on the front line, all silent. I am really a little bit shocked that so few other commentators want to talk about this. And I don't know whether it's from ignorance or fear or what it is, but I'm definitely going to be encouraging other people to be talking about this. I think that's something that we'd have to make a big part of the marathon session, the filibuster. Listen, and also I need to find out what time the interview on the Guinness site goes out, because if it's going out at 6 o'clock or something, I don't want to be doing 12, going on and on and on for 9 hours with hardly anyone seeing it. My ideal is that people watch the interview on the Guinness World Records YouTube page, which has 13.1 million people watching it. Jesus Christ, we only need to get 100 more people on this channel now, and we'll double the number of people watching. So, do you know what I mean? We could get people over here, but I've got to be charming and charismatic and funny for 48 hours. I don't know if I can manage 1 hour doing that the best of times, but yeah, give it a go. What are the chances of it being reversed in 40 days? Says Sky Dragon. I think they're okay. I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility. But we all need to be writing to our MPs and making them feel as shit as humanly possible if they support this. Going through the different things that will happen. And if you're trans, tell them exactly what you've gone through in your life. And if you've got trans friends who are no longer with us, write to your MP. Tell them your story. Tell them your story. And say how this is just going to absolutely destroy the lives of thousands and thousands of people in this country for no reason whatsoever. It's not going to make women safer. It's just not. That's the most frustrating thing. The excuse for doing this is the same excuse for apartheid, which was separate but equal. They said it was separate but equal. It's separate but... No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was just fucking evil. It was just white, old men deciding what everyone else had to do. And this has been the story since forever, Maybe 2,000 years ago, we had a bit more gender equality. But, for my lifetime of hundreds of years now, it's been grizzly old white men who have decided the fate of pretty much everyone else on this planet. Maybe this is the fucking long drawn out death rattle of their fucking dominance. All Trump's family immune now. Yep, can't be prosecuted. Can't be prosecuted. Anyway, right. So I'm gonna go. And have a look at the papers. I mean, I checked out the papers before I came on this morning because I was worried that it would all be like hooping and hollering about this disgusting attack on trans people. But it's shit, but it's not too shit. So I'm gonna go over to it. But I will say now, obviously some of the papers are going to be happy about this situation. So if you want to just knock this off and then come back later and then just skip through the paper bit and then we'll reconvene on the other side, that's fine with me. Roger says, so it's worse than I thought. How MAGA can't see what's happening. Maybe they do and they don't care. It's not that, mate. They do see it. And it's not that they don't care. They fucking love it. They fucking love it. You know, like when Danny Ocean and his crew, can't remember how many of them there were, but when he goes and steals from someone in a casino and they walk off with all the money at the end and you think, yeah, good job, Danny Ocean and your mates. Yeah. That's the way they feel about Trump. When he steals, they don't see it as stealing from them. In the same way that those people have probably been to a casino and put their money in slot machines. And technically, the money that they're stealing from the casino is actually their money that they gave to the casino. Well, they don't care. They're like, yes, our guy did it again. Stuck one to the libs. Yeah. And now Trump is offering $1 million to anyone who wants to go to Washington and $1.7 billion of taxpayers' money. So you get $1 million each if you go to Washington DC and stamp on the heads of a few police officers and turn up your AR-15, kill a few lawmakers in Congress. That's fine. You get $1 million. You won't go to jail. You get $1 million. That's going to happen in January, and then it'll happen again at the end of his term if he survives that long. Come on, hamburgers, do your thing. If there's another election, he'll say that he won it, even though he's not supposed to run, and he'll kill anyone who, he'll send his goons out to kill anyone who says otherwise. Wow. How to make 1,500 assassins. Essentially, that bit in John Wick where they say someone's gone excommunicado or something and everyone gets the message of, it comes up on the old paper or something, that tattooed women pick it up and go, ha, John Wick. Yeah, he's basically done that for all the Democratic lawmakers. And fucking hell. If I was a Democrat in Washington right now, I will be making my escape plan. Probably for the end of December. I'll just go away on the Christmas break and then never come back. Because I can see what's going to happen after the midterms. Thank you for covering this channel, covering it today. I was very worried and see Ireland as my future. It is wrong, and I've been driven away from England, especially by the Labour government ordering this ruling. Yeah, Sky Dragon. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Labour have absolutely fucked us on this one, and it's unforgivable. It is absolutely unforgivable, and they have 40 days to redeem themselves, and for backbench MPs in Labour to form opposition to this, for Green MPs to form an opposition to this, for Lib Dems to form an opposition to this, even the Tories could, speak up, and some Labour MPs have spoken out about how trans people are being treated. And we need more of that. But yeah, I think that point that Dot made about other, people not covering it. Well, let's have a look at the papers. I don't want them crowing about it, but at the same time, I don't really want them ignoring it either. Misconduct inquiry widens on the Mirror, which is the left-wing newspaper. Andrew Cops in sex crime probe. Police assessing claims offences took place in the Royal Lodge. I hope he goes to jail forever, motherfucker. An 80 shirt is still fashion's greatest risk taker. We've got Ronan Pelling. Thank God men have footy. Jesus. Rayner in election fraud row. 5 arrested in MP's constituency over claims of fake council candidates as former Deputy PM denies any involvement. Angela Rayner has become embroiled in a row linked to alleged electoral fraud at a local council. 4 men and a woman, all aged between 23 and 47, wasn't me, were arrested yesterday on suspicion of conspiracy to defraud, Greater Manchester Police said. It follows claims that fake independent candidates were entered on the ballot for the Tameside Borough Council in the heart of Miss Rayner's constituency of Ashton-under-Lyne to split votes from opposition parties. The alleged plot was reportedly carried out by people associated with the Tameside Labour group, with one discussion said to have taken place in Miss Rayner's kitchen. More scandal. Okay, that's just what we need. £1 billion stealth tax on flights to push up the cost of your holiday. Labour is planning £1 billion tax grab on family holidays. Fucking the Telegraph twat. Police will exclude sex claims in Andrew investigation. Don't ask trans people their gender. Firm. So new government guidance has said that transgender people should not be asked what sex they are before they use lavatories or changing rooms. Public buildings, blah, 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 must be used on the basis of biological sex, but it also warns that it would not be practical or appropriate for staff to challenge individuals they suspected were using the wrong lavatory. So what's the fucking point? What is the fucking point? What is the point of all this except to cause, to give people, to empower bigots to be horrible and say you don't look feminine enough to this narrow standard of Western beauty. Streeting to land role in Burnham cabinet. Andy Burnham is expecting to offer Wes Streeting a cabinet job if he becomes Prime Minister. Young turn their back on high tax Britain. Maguire and Palmer to miss World Cup. Cole Palmer and Harry Maguire and Phil Foden are expected to miss out on places in England squad. I don't care. After taking Maduro for nearly a year, I lost 7 stone. Then I discovered I was 8 months pregnant. You got pregnant from a Maduro jab. Wow, that really is a miracle drug. Polling fraud, row in Rayner constituency. And then we've got Loutlander, actress brands town and armpit after BAMs target the film crew. Outlander star Katrina Balfe has been blasted for branding a town and armpit. There you go. It says shots Neds ruin shoes. I don't know what shots Neds means. Does anyone know that? TV star Katrina says shots Neds ruin shoes. Anyway, let's move on. A Starship Enterprise. This is possibly to do with SpaceX being floated publicly. The Economist. We don't normally have the Economist cover there, but I guess there you go. It's quite a cool cover. Then we've got David Jacobi saying, I'd have liked to have been a movie star. Derek, Derek Jacobi, you were a movie star for me. Ranked Oh Superwoman, Laurie Anderson's best songs. Wait, Laurie Anderson there. She was always in love with the Wicked Witch. If you know, you know. Anyway, London Mayor blocks Met's AI deal with controversial tech firm. And single-sex toilets must exclude transgender people. Single-sex toilets in changing rooms in England, Scotland and Wales must exclude transgender men and women, according to new code of practice from the Equalities Watchdog, because that sounds very fair and equal. Paint the town claret. Birmingham welcomes back the victorious Villa. And Daily Express here, stop running away from the Brexit question, Andy. It's got another picture of Andy Burnham running. He goes running every day, and they like to take pictures of him running. Immigration, it's tit for stat. See what they've done there. Mahmood hails a massive fall from 944,000 to 171,000. But Starmer's exodus fear as 75,000 young in 136,000 leavers. Migrants now 1 in 5 of UK's population. 13.1 million people have been born abroad, which is, that's understandable because we need people to come from other countries, and I don't have a problem with that. How Europe imports its own cars from China. Mad. Burnham is old Labour's last chance. I agree. SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic's IPOs to trigger Wall Street trading frenzy. Hey, listen, before I go on, just want to say, Labour, obviously, they've got the by-election coming up in what's the place called? In Makerfield, right? Listen, right? It's a really good time to write to your MP, because after all of those MPs wrote a letter last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, saying that they wanted rid of Starmer, right? Was that last week? Was that last week? Oh my God, so much has happened. That was last week, wasn't it? Yeah, it was last week. Jesus Christ. But yeah, last week, these Labour MPs, over 100 of them, wrote a letter saying they don't want Starmer to be the leader anymore. If you want a time for your MP to rebel, now's the time. I want each and every one of you watching this to write to your MP at the end of this. And, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend ages doing it. Just go to theyworkforyou.com, find out who your MP is, draft up an email, and yeah, you can use AI if you want to help. I wouldn't recommend it writing the whole thing because it tends to fuck things up, but it can be helpful, give you pointers, things to mention. One thing that AI is pretty good at is if you get someone else's letter, or you get a news article or something, or a statement put on the Good Law Project, you swipe it and copy and paste it into your AI chatbot. It can read through that and give you a letter based on that as your sort of the skeleton for it. But write to your MP. I can't stress this enough. Please write to your MP. Okay, so back to the papers. We've got the Financial Times here. SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic IPOs trigger Wall Street trading frenzy. NASDAQ loosens rules, passive investors to dump rival stocks, trillionaire prospect for Musk. And this is really, really bad news, because what's going to happen is SpaceX is getting floated, OpenAI chatbot is getting floated, Anthropic AI is getting floated, right? And what's going to happen is, see, it said passive investors set to dump rival stocks. Passive investors, that includes a lot of pension pots, right? And they invest in these different companies. Now, NASDAQ has rules to say you've got to be an established on the stock exchange to become part of this passive investor stock, right? So these usually stocks aren't instantly available to passive investors, but this actually will be. And the thing is with passive investors is that it's automatic. So what's going to happen is they're going to get floated, and immediately there's going to be billions and billions of dollars from all over the world in these pension pots and things like that, investment funds that are passive, which will automatically add some of these shares from Anthropic, from OpenAI, from SpaceX into their own portfolio. It'll be an automatic process, and this is really fucking risky. Because if those shares turn out to be worth fuck all, because the AI bubble pops, or I don't know, Trump fucking dies and they decide that they're not going to give any more money to Elon Musk, and so SpaceX falls apart, then we're in trouble. L says, L is going on. It will cost companies a fortune to change toilets who want to include in the middle of a financial crisis. Why? For a threat that doesn't exist. Yeah, couldn't agree more, L. It is absolutely fucking stupid. Whoa, Graham praising AI. I to make things very clear on my attitude towards AI, I think that it's a tool. Just like the internet, just like social media, just like a fucking phone, right? It's a tool. And my worry with it is that people think it's the be all and end all, and they think that they can do stuff that only humans can do, but they can do it with AI, and they can do stuff that humans that aren't very good at something might be able to do. But my biggest problem with AI is not just that AI slop looks like slop and it makes me feel sick, because I don't know, I just uncanny valley something about it. I hate AI imagery. I hate it. If you notice, I never use AI imagery on my thumbnails, but I do use AI because there's a wonderful thing on Adobe Photoshop now where you can just press remove background, so I don't have to cut out around the people. One of the reasons why I wore this hat back in the day was because, I mean, one of the many reasons, I've got no melanin. That's the main reason I wear it. But one of the reasons why I wore a hat like this is so I could easily crop myself out of pictures, especially when I had long hair. Oh, them were the days. But now you just press a button and it does it. And it does it through AI. It looks at the picture and goes, okay, that's the person. Let's take him out. So it does have its uses, but my biggest problem with it, above and beyond the fact that it's been massively overhyped, is it's unreliable. And that unreliability is its Achilles heel. And well, at some point, I'm sure they're going to get it to 99% reliability and, make it so it makes hardly any mistakes at all, but it will still make mistakes. And when you are relying on something to not make mistakes, it can that could be the matter of life and death. But also on top of that, like if you had a calculator and it got 1 out of every 100 sums wrong, you'd have to check every sum, especially if it was life and death. So yeah. Sending hugs to everyone who needs them today from Kitty. Oh, Kitty, that's really lovely. Thank you. Gallifreyan Wren says, I'm too tired, worn down, exhausted to be bothered by a guidance we all knew would be a shit show anyway. Yeah. I completely understand that, Gallifreyan Wren. I'm really sorry, and I'm going to do whatever I can in my small fucking way to raise awareness of this and to get people to write to their MPs. Like I say, this is the best time to get your MP to stand up in Parliament and say, fuck off. It's the best time. It should augment, not replace, and shouldn't make decisions on things that affect real people, says Daylight M. Yeah. And the hypocrisy of it all fucks me off. The hypocrisy of it all. We got shit for downloading stuff off the internet, for downloading movies, for downloading music. We all remember Napster, right? Napster paid for Facebook to exist. If it wasn't for Napster, Facebook wouldn't exist, right? The creator of Napster was a big investor at the start of Facebook. He was the guy who suggested they take the word "the" off the name of the website because it was their Facebook, and they just changed it to Facebook. I just think it's a bit rich of these fabulously wealthy motherfuckers who make all their money through through their IP, right? So much so that when a rival company tries to do something similar to Facebook or something similar to WhatsApp or something, they invariably get sued by Facebook for robbing their shit, robbing their code, robbing their stuff, right? Facebook took billions of books and just fucking read through them all and use that as a basis for its learning module, whatever the fuck it's called, learning model. And they did that with no regard to copyright. And in fact, Meta is being sued right now as a result of them doing this, and the book companies having proof that they did it. Daylight M, yes. Hang on, how did you put so many chats up so quickly? When people ask me about why there was a delay on being able to put chats up, it's because I had people back in the day who would literally fill up the whole screen with just like one letter. And I was like, gotta stop doing this, my friends. But yeah, I don't know how you did that, Daylight M. Just be able to get around the slow mode. Triage, yes. But they shouldn't be gatekeepers. I'm working on AI ethics research that will hopefully turn into policy, and Meta is losing their Meta. Yeah. Well, I mean, Facebook is on the way out, isn't it? Well, Meta is. I wouldn't say Facebook, because obviously I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to have to sell off Instagram. They're going to have to sell off Threads and Facebook and WhatsApp. They're going to have to spin it off because I don't know. They're absolutely desperate now. I'm getting messages off Facebook going, I put something on there saying like Trump's a cunt. And like it gets loads of interaction. And it's like, you have earned 99 pence from this interaction. Would you like to find out more? Would you like to sign up for a business account? Would you like to advertise with us? Please advertise with us, Graham. Please give us your money, Graham. I'm like, fuck off. You can give me money. I'm quite happy to provide entertainment and content, as long as I get something out of it. But, you can pay me if you want. But yeah, fucking desperate, absolutely desperate. Elle says, I thought there was 40 days. A trans woman on YouTube who has been posting while being sectioned is being moved into a male ward because the new guidelines, Alistair Lincoln. Yeah. No, it's already being implemented. This is supposed to give clarity. Which is just does, no delay of members. Oh, Martin, so if you're a member, you can spam me. Okay. So I daylight M, I'm not having a go. Should have stopped computers when auto-tune ruined music, lol. Oh, what? £1.50. I could not agree more. Do you know what? Did I put auto-tune into room 101? Did I put auto-tune? I should have done. I fucking hate auto-tune. Like the sound of it. Oh, the sound of auto-tune to me is like nails down a chalkboard. That's the reaction that I have to auto-tune. I hate it. I hate the sound of being serenaded by a robot who is singing through an harmonica. Like, what the fucking fuck is this? And the music in Panama, and look, I'm sorry. I know I'm white, and I know I'm British, and I know I'm middle class, and blah, 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 and I shouldn't be commenting on other people's music. But fuck, it's bad. Like, beyond anything you've ever experienced bad. It is a hideous mixture of accordions, which I hate, auto-tune, which I hate, and women screaming like they're being thrown down a well. Yeah, it's niche, I guess. Honestly, I don't get it, but if you're going to get like three things together that kind of are going to set me off, those are the three things, Panama. What the? Martin, pack that in. Not having that, Martin. I will hate Labour for all eternity if this is allowed to pass in 40 days, then use my EU passport to leave. And it says Sammy Jane. Yeah, that's completely understandable. It's completely understandable. I would like to maybe we should discuss this maybe on Discord or something. We bring together the stories from trans people watching this and talking about your story and whether you're going to leave the country, as some of my friends are, because of this ruling, which is just a cruel and unusual punishment for the crime of existing as your authentic self. This is the equivalent of forcing gay men to marry women, which is what we used to do. Just go and get yourself a beard. I had a ginger girlfriend once who used to make a joke about me having two beards. Two ginger beards. Anyway, Martin gonna be putting a timeout in the corner. Yes. No spamming, please. Subscribers don't have to wait 60 seconds. I had to change that. Yeah, that'd be the new thing for like join the channel. Why not join the channel? Because if you join, it means that you can spam the fuck out of the chat. No, don't. Well, you can join, but please don't spam the fuck out of the chat. Anyway, we've got the other news stories coming in from the Financial Times here. Reeves targets oil majors in effort to boost tax take. EasyJet in loyalty launch. EU cuts growth forecasts. BYD in Horner F1 talks. Crash verdict overturned. Airbus and Air France have been found guilty in appeals court of involuntary manslaughter of the 2009 crash of a plane flying from Rio de Janeiro to Paris that killed 228 people. US in $2 billion quantum bet. Washington is set to purchase equity stakes worth about $2 billion in 9 quantum computing companies, including a startup backed by a group with links to Donald Trump's family, because he's a fucking, he's a fucking warlord. He's like a Middle Eastern African warlord from back in the day, going around, fucking on the back of his Toyota pickup truck with a AK-47. Walmart warns over fuel. The US retailer behemoth has said that higher petrol prices were leading consumers to ration purchases at the pump. And then we've got Turkey opposition hit. The leadership of Turkey's main opposition party has been ousted after a court ruling that could tighten Erdogan's grip on power. That's not good. Net migration almost halves to lowest level since 2021 as work visa changes kick in. Another stupid thing that Labour's doing instead of celebrating immigration, they're demonising them and saying, "Oh, it's all their fault." Tehran projects calm over health of Supreme Leader more than 2 months after Mojrama Khomeini was chosen as the Supreme Leader of Iran. He has been neither seen nor heard. Oh, wow. Okay, right. Everyone sing along. Spam, 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 spam. I've got eggs, bacon, beans, and spam. That's all got a lot of spam in it. But I don't like spam. The guidance will put the brake on closer relations with the EU, I'll think. Well, yeah, Gallifrey, man, that's another thing to bring up. Oh, sorry. Little mini earthquake there. It's another thing to bring up. This is fucking things in Northern Ireland, because Northern Ireland's still under the European Human Rights Act, so they have different rules to the rest of Great Britain, and that's upsetting the unionists a lot, because they don't like being different to the rest of us. You know, they want us all to be the same, except when it comes to abortion and a bunch of other stuff that is just, you know, unique to Northern Ireland. That difference from Great Britain is fine, you know, that's fine. Don't worry about it. But, you know, when it's something that they want, like discrimination against trans people, they're like, why can't we do that as well? And well, you can't, because the ways that the Windsor framework. There you go. Question: Why does evangelical? How do I pronounce that word? I've forgotten. Evangelicist. No. Oh my God, my mouth isn't working anymore. I've not even been up for 48 hours. Evangelical. That's it, isn't it? Evangelical US politics do well here when Britain is mostly only nominally Christian, even if symbolically we're a Christian country. I will answer that for you, Sammy. It's because it makes people feel good about themselves. Every religion tells its people that they are the chosen people and they're the ones who are going to go to heaven. Everyone else is going to burn in hell. Or maybe people go to heaven if they're a good person, but they don't get to go to the VIP section of heaven. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to achieve anything. You don't have to go the extra mile. You don't have to get off your arse and actually do something, change something about the world or yourself. You don't have to do that. All you need to do is just sit on the couch and say, I'm white. I'm a Christian. Hurrah! And then you can be as horrible and as bigoted and as arrogant and as overblown and, you know, as you like. You can feel superior. You can feel superior to all other people. Taliban genitals. Taliban genitals. Because they're clout chasers and flaunt wealth and money. Yeah, indeed. Everyone sing along, spam, spam, spam. I'm pretty sure that even members couldn't spam before. They must have changed the rules. But yeah, so I called this episode, How Do We Stop the Vicious Bog Trolls? And the best way we can do it right now, and look, I'm not putting this onto our trans friends, they've got enough to fucking deal with, but the rest of us, cisgender people, please spend some time today, over the weekend, writing to your MP. And, you know, once you get one email sorted, then, I mean, you know, rewrite it, just jiggle it about a bit, put it back through AI, say, rewrite this for me. And then send it off to them again and again and again, and do it every day for the next month. You know, they're going to have to respond to you at some point, even if it's just to shut you up. Because every time you send a message to them, that gets clocked. And every time they don't respond, that gets clocked as well. Yeah. Also, Reform want to ban abortion if they came in. First they came for the trans, says Sammy. Yeah, absolutely right. That's exactly what they want to do. Father Hacker flashback hell. £1.50. Charities and churches get tax breaks and access to programs to help normal business don't get. Use the steps to bribe and grow a racist group. Yeah, especially in America where the taxes, famously the churches don't have to pay taxes, and that's why apparently, what's that lie that they keep telling? apparently the Church of Scientology is a religion. It's not. It's a fucking con job. I mean, I don't even think Mormonism's a religion. I don't think that Jehovah's Witnesses is a religion. It's just a con to get people out of their money. And God, they do well out of it. Jesus Christ. Bella Rose Thorne, for any other LGBT folks, I understand that some of the guidance pretty much says beliefs can't be bigoted, only individuals, and takes definition of what counts as bigotry out of victims' hands. Yeah. And what's interesting, I think, as well, listen, just quickly, I think this is really, really interesting, right? So this is horrific, right? This is horrific. But if we look at the Telegraph here, this is the bottom of the Telegraph. Don't ask trans people their gender, firms told. For those people in the Telegraph, right? It's not horrific enough. That little story there is saying essentially, you should be able to ask people their gender. God, this doesn't go far enough. You should be able to confront anyone you like and say, I don't think that you are the gender that you are presenting yourself as. Yeah, no difference between them and the Taliban. No. Mormons own more land than the military in America. Extremely rich. Yeah, it's a fucking massive fucking pyramid fucking scheme, innit? You get born into it. You have slaves working for you from the age of dot to further your money. And yeah, they own a fucking fortune. All based on a story about some guy called Joe Smith who went out and found some tablets, and he had magic reading glasses, and he could read the tablets, and then he recited them all. What it was said, the Book of Moroni, which is the capital of Comoros, by the way, Moroni. And the Moroni said, "Oh yeah, that sounds plausible." But then I think his wife said, "This is bullshit," and like burnt his book and said, "This is shit." If this is true, say it all again in the same order. And he did not do that. And his second book of Moroni was all over the shop like a pork chop compared with the first one. Joseph Smith and his hieroglyphics. Mormonism is a fraud. Yeah. The Supreme Court thing is full of holes. It is, absolutely. And Labour could sort this. Labour could sort this very easily. No more guidance needed. All they need to do is say trans women are women. That's it. Go back into the Equalities Act. You don't have to redraft it. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is add a little bit to the glossary at the back of the act, or there's probably some arcane term for it or something, but definitions and define it within the act as meaning women refers to cisgender women and trans women with a gender recognition certificate, and then make it easier to get a gender recognition certificate. And as was pointed out earlier, that allows you to change your birth certificate. The Mormon Church is the richest church in the world through Ensign Peak Investments. Yep, loads of money. Nearly all the religious groups in America are based around money. Or based about the worship of money, which is funny because it means that all the people in these groups, if they're actually right and their teachings are true, they're all going to go and burn in hell for all eternity. Which just makes me think that no one really believes in this shit. No, none of them believe in it. If they did, they'll act differently. I don't think the Pope is religious. I don't think the Pope believes in God. I don't think the Pope believes in heaven and hell. I think he just goes through the motions because that's his job. That's what he's always known. But if you ever stop and think about the consequences of dying and then coming back to life magically in a magical realm where you're questioned about everything you did in life, the Pope trying to explain to the, St. Peter on at the pearly gates, trying to explain that he wasn't really rich when he lived in a basilica fucking fortress at the top of a hill in Rome. He had his own bank. No, I was poor, really. You had your own bank, Mr. Pope. Oh yeah, I suppose I did have my own bank. Yeah, and you slept in a 4-poster mahogany bed, and you had servants come and cook and clean for you. Did you clean your own Vatican? Did you? Fuck, someone else did that for you. Don't say that you weren't wealthy, mate. Yeah, but it wasn't my money. It was the church's money. You know what? That's like saying, oh, it's not my money. It's not Murdoch's money. It's actually Murdoch's children's money because he's going to die and they'll get the money when he dies, right? It was just sitting in that bank account. It was just resting in the bank account. Question. I suspect Plaid in Wales will heavily object. Do they have a route to quash the Supreme Court thing? I hope that this will collapse under the weight of its own not stupidity, that's not the right word, unworkability. This is absolutely unworkable. In real life, this just isn't going to work. It just isn't. It just fucking isn't. And so looking at the long-term prospects on this, they're not great, because you're only going to need a handful of incidents of cisgender women having a fight in the women's toilets at 2 a.m. in a bar to get to a point where we're like, this is stupid. We've got to reassess this. This is absolutely idiotic. And I want to know how many dead trans children these MPs are prepared to have on their conscience. In fact, if you know anyone who has unfortunately gone that way, make a big point about it when you write to your MP. Maybe include a photo of them if you can. I mean, you know, we were all outraged a couple of years ago when Rishi Sunak cracked a joke about, a transphobic joke in Parliament, while the mother of Brianna Guy, who was in the Brianna Guy, and her mother was in the audience. Well, she was in the building during Prime Minister's questions, and Rishi Sunak cracked a joke about trans people. The mother of a murdered teenager, and he's cracking jokes at a murdered trans teenager. And we all thought that was disgusting, and everyone was so, apoplectic about it. And here we are a couple of years later, and it's like, oh, this is fine. This is fine. This is going to lead to the deaths of hundreds, if not thousands, of trans people in this country. And we need to we need to wrap that around the necks, or put that on the shoulders of the it needs to be a concrete albatross, essentially, that we will never let them forget, and we will continue to hammer them on this particular point, because honestly, this matters more than a lot of the shit that we've fucking been arguing about for the last few years. It really, really does. Everything else to me, it's like fucking window dressing. This is a critically important stage in the history of the United Kingdom. We have gone from being the best place for LGBT people to live in this continent, and therefore pretty much the best place in the world for LGBT people. 10 years ago, we were the best, and now we're 22nd in Europe. We're swimming somewhere down around Hungary, which was run by Orban for 16 fucking horrible years. Guy who banned pride events. Guy who wanted to make homosexuality illegal again. In Russia, if you're in Chechnya and you are found to be gay, they can castrate you. They can put you into a camp and teach you how to not be gay somehow. Forced conversion. Out you in front of all your family and friends. That's all legal. And we're swimming around in those waters now? Is that where we want to be in 2026? I'm sorry, yeah. Gallifreyan Ren, and one Keir Starmer was particularly outspoken about it at the time. As I recall, yes, he was. Gallifreyan Ren, yes, he fucking was. So what's changed? What has changed? Ask them, write to them and ask them what has changed. Why have you turned into a cunt? That's what you want to ask. Actually, don't say that, because they won't. They'll ignore you if you write that. But we won't be 22nd anymore. This guidance is accepted. Yeah, we'll be even fucking lower. Yeah. And Bella Rose Thorne is saying, Labour used Esther Guy, and now it's just Guy. Sorry, it's pronounced Guy, isn't it? I think it's pronounced Guy. Esther Guy, and now let's just let the country be run contrary to Brianna's memory. Yeah, it's a fucking disgrace. Anyway, look, we've got homework to do, my friends. We've got stuff to do, and this isn't out to my trans friends. This is my cisgender friends. Please, 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 today or this weekend, write an email to your MP, making this really clear. And something else I'd like you to do, if you would be so kind, if any other content creators are making content this weekend or next week or next fucking 40 days, whenever it is, right? If you're in the comments, bring this up, okay? Bring it up with them and say, hey, why aren't you talking about this? It would really fucking help, because I want an answer. I want an answer. You want an answer? I want an answer. Why is no one talking about this? Do we feel ashamed? Like, do we feel like it's not our place to say something? Do we feel not informed enough? I mean, fine. You know, I'll help inform you. I've got friends who will help inform you. That's the issue here. But we really need to be talking more about this. And we really need the same people who are absolutely apoplectic about stuff that's happening on the other side of the world, understandably, because it's bad stuff, absolutely ignoring a genocide that is happening right now, right here in this country. One that we can do something about if we all speak together and we all sing from the same hymn sheet. Anyway, get off me high horse now. Hang on. Let me get back onto me. Get me back onto me fucked pony. Lost missionary. I've not met one person who is outright anti-trans. One or two that didn't understand it, but not one against. This anti stuff will fail, as did the anti-gay stuff in the 1980s. Hugs to all. Yes, lost missionary. I agree with that. And if we can have one note of optimism in all this, this will fail. This will fail, because there's always been trans people. Just like there's always been gay people, there's always been lesbians, there's always been bisexuals, there's always been left-handed people, and people with dyslexia, and people with OCD, and people with who are autistic, or people who have got ADHD. There will always be people like this. And if you're making your laws and your regulations around people trying to vet whether someone's left-handed or someone is dyslexic or someone is ADHD just by looking at them and then treating them differently on that basis, it's just a highway to fucking failure. So yeah, kick back. I don't mean kick back as in relax. I mean kick back against the pricks, okay? And together, hopefully, we'll make something good come out of this horrific fucking guidance, this bullshit guidance that will blow up these the arguments of these turfy motherfuckers. And the leopards are going to be eating a lot of fucking faces over the next couple of fucking years, I tell you. Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Martin Taxis were running a reduced service on Saturday and no service on Sunday due to unforeseen circumstances. Oh no. It must be so awful, but trailblazing hard as it's such an issue. An important thing. Big these trailblazers up. Yeah, absolutely. And is there with a ton of trans pride flags. And there's no LGBT without the T. You know, if you're going to exclude the T, you can fuck off. I love my tea. Tea is great. Have half a tea. And to my trans sisters and brothers out there, listen, I know it's fucking shit right now, but we can fight back, and we will fight back. This has happened before, and it'll happen again. You know, I'm sure. You know, we can't stop fighting for our rights, because there's people out there who want to take all our rights away from us, from all of us, who are not born filthy fucking rich into the neo-aristocracy. They want one rule for them and one rule for everybody else. Like, do any of the motherfuckers who are paying for all this horrific bigotry any of them, is a single one of them likely to use a public toilet in a Greasy Spoon cafe anytime soon? No. Are they going to be going to the bogs in the fucking Crazy House in Liverpool? No. Mostly because it's not called the Crazy House anymore. But, you know, are they going to be slumming it with the proles in the National Express bus station in Manchester on Chiltern Road? Are they? Fuck. They're not going to be there. They're going to be using those toilets. J.K. Rowling probably has a toilet carried around behind her on a fucking sedan chair for when she needs to take a shit. Sammy says many TERFs are non-gender conforming themselves. Imagine a time when a TERF tries to throw another TERF out, the ladies lose. That's happened, Sammy. That's already happened. That happened in Florida last year. 2 TERFs had a fucking violent fucking altercation because they both accused each other of being trans. And they weren't trans, they were TERFs. You know, do you remember B3TA? You remember B3TA? They used to have stupid, you know, rather good, Rob Manuel. They used to have these stupid, really crappily drawn flash games, and one of them was like Man Milk or Moo Milk, which was just horrific. But I don't know if they ever did this, but fucking, you know, trans or TERF, I'll be up for that. I don't want to be offensive to anyone who is trans watching this, but I would have pictures of like the best looking, absolutely drop dead gorgeous trans women, and then like these really clocky looking TERFy men, and then just like say, oh, are they a trans or are they a TERF? And you have to kind of guess. Just making a point maybe to some of these TERFs who like the world that they want to create is a world they're gonna fucking hate. And I suppose that's going to be the downfall of all this, because it's unworkable and the very people who want it don't realise what it's going to fucking do to them. Especially if they're nowhere near as good looking as I am. Fuck them. Thanks, everyone. It's comforting to know there's so many good people out there, says Miss Tina Jones. Yes. There are some good people. Actually, the majority of people are good. They're just getting on with their lives. But people give an excuse to be horrible. Will be horrible for what reason? For what reason? No reason. No reason other than boredom, I think. Boredom. I get confused with all the letters and acronyms. You and me both, please. Rowling is a toilet. She's a horrible little bog troll who has all the money in the fucking world. And instead of having fun with it, she's a bitter old lady. A bitter and twisted old lady who sits there with her fake mates on her fake fucking yacht, you know, with her fake fingernails going, She thinks that the world should have given her a big fucking novelty fucking certificate to say, well done, you won, or something, when she made her first billion. But, you know, the world didn't do that. She looked in the mirror, didn't like what she saw. And she thought, well, instead of just having a nice time, having a good time, instead of making people happy, instead of bringing joy and excitement and you know, instead of helping humanity, what I'm going to do is be a horrible little fucking TERF, horrible little small-minded TERF. Wow. And then she complains about it. Oh, people give me loads of abuse on the internet. I'm like, yeah, fucking damn right they do, mate. If I talked so much fucking bollocks and I had such a massive fucking platform, if I spewed fucking hate, I'd expect to get hate back. You know, I get enough fucking shit when I'm trying to just spread peace and fucking love. Never mind. Well, fucking, all I was doing is being hateful, and then people were hateful towards me. Sorry, I hit the microphone there. Fucking crazy. J.K. Rowling, this is from Sammy. The mouth and rear end are interchangeable. Absolutely. Pretty sure it's a real yacht. A fake one would be preferable, though. It's not a real yacht. A real yacht's got a fucking sail. Her yacht's a motor yacht. It's not a real yacht. It's a fucking beach. It's a bath toy. It's a child's bath toy. Like an oversized child's bath toy. That's what it is. You don't go sailing on one of these fucking super yachts. They don't sail. They motor. It's an outboard motor. I don't go sailing on my Panga in Panama. It's got an outboard motor on it. It's only 15 horsepower, not the 15,000 horsepower 20,000 horsepower that J.K. Rowling's boat would be. But no, it's not a yacht. So it's a toy. It's a fucking joke. It's not. She doesn't know anything about sailing. She just wants to be rich and bob up and down in the water, but not too much because you get seasick after a while. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to pull rank on this one, but that's not a yacht. It's a fucking ferry, mate. You're on a ferry. How well done. You bought yourself a ferry to yourself. Oh, that's nice. Twats. But yeah, a cruise ship is not. I mean, it's a ship, but it's not a yacht. Yeah. Anyway, a yacht doesn't have to have sails. Yes, it does. Yes, it absolutely does, Martin. I'm sorry, but as far as I'm concerned, if you ain't got sails, you ain't a fucking yacht. If you're going yachting, you've got to have sails because that's the whole point and supposed to be the beauty of yachting. And I know yachts also have motors, to get in and out of port and stuff. It's quite difficult to do that on the wind. But yeah, at the same time, no. A yacht does need to have sails, or it's a speedboat. It's a fucking speedboat. It's a big, oversized speedboat. There you go. I do sail, Graham. Good. Well, you know what the difference is between something that you sail and something that you just press a fucking button and it says engine on, and then you just sort of steer it. It's completely different. Like, come on. If you sail, if you want to say they're equivalent, they're absolutely not. So no, it's a fake yacht. It's a fake yacht. It's just a bath toy. It's an oversized bath toy. No skill needed. No skill required. It's all fucking GPS these days. And it's not like the people who have these super yachts actually pilot themselves. They pay someone else to do it. Who knows what they're doing? Yeah, I'm going to do what Rowling can't do today. I'll be happy and a competent writer. Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes. I'm going to do what Rowling can't today. I'm going to be happy. Yes, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Don't let what the bigots want is for you to be as miserable as they are. And the trick is, don't let them. Don't let them, no matter what. As long as you've got your health, as long as you've got, friends, people that your gang. There's people out there that love you, and these bigots. Look at that fucking Graham Linehan creep. Not for too long because he looks like a fucking blobfish, but his wife's left him. His kids don't speak to him anymore. Like, imagine that. Imagine losing your rock. Imagine losing your kids, children. Don't want to speak to you anymore. And he's sacrificed all that for what? For nothing. Other than his own fucking deranged bigotry. Lol, they're still known as yachts. Yes, Martin, but technically they're not yachts. This is my point. I know they're called yachts, but they are erroneously called yachts. In fact, if you talk to a lot of skippers, they don't even like it when you call their boat a boat. They go, no, only submarines are boats. This is a ship. But yeah. The conversation reminds me of Crocodile Dundee's. That's not a knife. It's not. It's not a yacht. They like to call it a yacht because it makes it sound like they know something about seafaring and marine navigation and shit. They don't know fuck all about that. I have it on good authority that the orcas agree with me. Even if that's not a fucking yacht. Hey, I can make myself a coffee in less than 20 minutes. My day is made. Enjoy the small things. Yeah, Lost Missionary. Does one have to be a bigot to be miserable? No, not necessarily. But the one thing that the bigots want is to make people miserable. That's what their job is. That's all they want to do in life, is to make other people's lives more difficult. And they want to make them sad. And that's why they hate it. They hate it. That's why you get stuff like Benefit Street and Jeremy Kyle on the TV, because the rich just want to watch poor people having a shit time. And they don't want to see joy in life. This is why they hate stuff like the Notting Hill Carnival, and they don't want to see working class people or ethnic minorities. They hate pride. They don't want to see gay people. They don't want to see trans people. They don't want to see lesbians having a good time. It fucks them off because they want everyone just as miserable and wretched as they are. Why does yacht have a C in it? There's a joke somewhere. Well, J.K. Rowling's yacht definitely has a C in it. Yeah, you don't have to be miserable. You don't have to be a bigot to be miserable, but you have to be miserable to be a bigot. Well put, Gallifreyan Wren. And I'm going to give you the last word of the morning. So I'm going to head off now. I will do a show later today. I don't know what I've got set up yet. We're still kind of rejigging things with the whole new, the whole Hughes the World rebrand. And obviously, I've got a lot of shit to get sorted before we go ahead with this world record attempt on Monday. I could do getting a new chair. My chair is fucked. It's just like this wobbly shit. It was a chair that I got like for free when I bought this desk that I use off Gumtree. They went, do you want a chair? And I went, yeah, okay, I'll have a chair. And it's shit. It's falling apart. It's really squeaky, and I worry sometimes that when I move on my chair, it sounds like I'm farting when I'm not. If I'm gonna fart, I turn the microphone off. TERF's whole life is trans people. We live rent free in their head. Yeah, you do. Yeah, they wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat, freaking out because trans people exist. What a miserable existence. No wonder they're so miserable. We don't value where we put our rear ends. Buy a new chair. Buy a new chair. We don't value where we put our rear ends. I don't have the money to buy a new chair. I'll have to, go to the shop and get one. But I've spent all my money on a clock. I've got I've got to have a clock behind me. I've got to have a TV and a clock. I get a TV from another room, but I've got to have like a digital clock for when I do this challenge to make sure that, and it's going to be going out on 2 streams at the same time. So it'll be going out here on my YouTube channel, but it will also be going out on what's it called, Twitch. It'll be going out on Twitch as well on my laptop. So you'll have 2 different angles. You have an angle like from over here. So that'll be facing this wall here, and then you have this angle that you normally get when you're watching me, and then it's just got to be see how long I can go. See how long I can go. That be the plan. Okay, my friends, thank you, and thanks to Gallifrey and Ren for bringing some levity to this situation. I know it's shit, but together, we will get through it. We'll get through it, and if you are minded to leave, and I understand why you would do that, please keep fighting as well, because the internet's everywhere. So even if you're not in this country anymore because of the bigotry, please keep fighting. Please keep raising awareness and talking about it, because we have to. We absolutely fucking have to. Otherwise, we're going to go down the same route as America. You want to see the future? You want to see the future? Look at America. Look at America. Okie dokes. I'm going to head off now. Hugs and vibes from Sammy there. Sheffield. It's been fun on any road. See you later. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sarah, for sticking with us through thick and thin. And I will try and sort out your request for autographs from my friends as soon as I can. I've just got a few different things to. I've got like a mountain of to-do stuff at the moment. I'm at that point where you kind of like, you've got so much stuff to do, you end up not doing anything because it's like choice paralysis. So I'm trying to smash through that, but yeah. Give it a go anyway. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I will love you and leave you. And until next time, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Hello. And also thanks for the super chats. Really appreciate that. Look after yourselves and each other, and make sure that, if you've got if you're trans yourself, or you've got trans people in your life, make sure that and that they know that they are loved and they are respected, and they should be treated with dignity and respect, and not treated like a political fucking football. Because no human is a political football, and should never be treated as such. So there is some stuff we can do about this, and now is a very good time. And I'll say it again: write to your MP, please. Write to your MP, especially if they're a backbench Labour MP at the moment. They're more likely to rebel. They're more likely to stand up and say something. The more they say something, the more other MPs will hear what they say and say, "Oh yeah, that's a good point, actually," which is that this is utterly abhorrent and unworkable. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.